Hi everyone, I'm Mary and today I'm back with the fourth episode of my series, the ELT Glossary. And if you've got no idea what I'm talking about, I'm trying to create a human dictionary with the help of teachers from all over the world. So in each video, you're going to see 5 qualified English teachers talking about ELT terms in a maximum of 2 minutes. So the info you're going to see here can be really useful, especially if you are taking a TEFL, a CELTA course, or any other type of teaching qualification. You can find the links for all teachers' social media in the description, okay, in case you want to reach out to them. So, well, get ready to take some notes because I see them coming.
Hey friends, I hope you're well. My name is Thomas Blakemore and I'm a primary school teacher here in Dubai. I work in a British international school teaching the British curriculum to children from all around the world. Now, one of the challenges that I face is when someone who doesn't speak English comes to our school. One of the things we like to do in my school is language immersion strategies. So what we do is we make sure that the child is immersed in language straight away, but also offer their language to supplement some of the things that they are learning about. An example of this is if we are learning English, we would use resources that are dual language resources so that children have an idea of some of the common phrases and items that they're going to come across during the day. A question would be like, can I go to the toilet? So they would have a picture of something like a toilet with that phrase both in English and in their own language so they can try and experiment using those phrases. From there, when doing activities, we would also have common word banks that would have things in not only our English language, but also in their language with pictures to really support them with using and learning the language too. If you're considering using something like this in the future, think about what your students are going to need to use. Provide a pictorial image along with their language and the language of what they're learning, English. So hopefully that's beneficial. If you want to go and check out some of my videos about language strategies and things like that, that's available on my channel, Thomas Blakemore, where I create over on YouTube, TikTok and Instagram.
Hey, I'm teacher Cassie J, and today we're going to be looking at 2 reading strategies, which are skimming and scanning. So skimming is a really casual reading strategy. What you're doing, if we were to take the example of reading a newspaper or reading an article that we click through on Facebook, we might be casually looking over the headlines, looking for some subheadings maybe that would capture our attention. We would be looking for some words or something to pique our interest. We're usually just skimming over the material. And only when something piques our interest do we change our reading strategy to something more intensive where we can focus and start to actually absorb the material instead of just skimming over it or reading for gist. So in this way, we are reading at a fairly normal speed just to find the main points of the text. We're not necessarily reading it to retain any information. Finally, pencil in hand, we might go back to the beginning of the text and begin to read it more slowly. Or we could grab a highlighter and start highlighting those key lexical items that jumped out at us and really pause to ponder the contents in order to retain the information. Scanning, on the other hand, involves rapidly glancing at the text, looking for a specific word or phrase that we know the text to contain. Let me give you another example. Say I'm in the market to plant some marigolds. The first thing I would do is grab a gardening book, go to the index page, and run my eyes to about the middle of the page because M is in the middle of the alphabet. Then I would find M, and then I would find M-A because A is the next letter that follows M. So now that we've found marigolds, we'd flip to the page that's talking about planting marigolds, and we'd switch to a more intensive reading strategy. So skimming and scanning are both extensive reading strategies, which means we're usually reading at a much slower pace and possibly we're reading for enjoyment.
Performing a needs analysis can be an excellent way for English teachers to find out more about their students and make devising lessons for them much easier in the long run. Needs analysis in language teaching and language program design can be defined as a systematic process which helps teachers to collect information and get an accurate and complete picture of their students' needs and preferences. This process is in response to the academic needs of all the students for improving achievements and meeting challenged academic standards. However, this process sometimes does not involve looking at the learner's individual needs, but may involve looking at the requirements and expectations of other members, such as employees, parents, and financial supporters. Needs analysis usually has 4 parts. The target situation analysis. This is a kind of needs analysis which mainly focuses on students' needs at the end of a language course. For example, to pass the IELTS. The learning situation analysis refers to why do learners want to learn. Therefore, if a learner says he wants to feel confident in using the language, that is a subjective or a felt need. The present situation analysis analyzes the learner's present situation and shows the gap between the present and the target. This estimates strengths and weaknesses in language, skills, and learning experiences. This is usually analyzed through a diagnostic test. And the means analysis directs the environment in which a course will be run. This involves information of the local situation, what time there is for the course, what facilities, personnel, and equipment are available. Constraints like lack of time may mean that you can't actually do what you have identified as important, and that priorities have to be established and compromises made. They are all important to look at to see how a language course may be implemented.
Hey, let's talk about stirrers and settlers. You may also know them as warmers, fillers, or coolers. So, knowing how to channel all that energy that our children have, or when to stir or to settle, will help you achieve balanced lessons without our students becoming overexcited on one hand or bored on the other. So how do we define stirrers and settlers? Stirrers are tasks or activities that stimulate or energize our learners. Typically, a stir would be a quick game to lead us into a lesson or activity. During these activities, it's important to encourage movement as much as possible. And settlers are used to calm our students down. It may be a quieter activity such as a word search, arts and crafts, or even a story to consolidate learning. We can also use stirrers and settlers to activate our learners' previous knowledge, set the scene for a lesson, revive and energize our class, or revise and consolidate the target language in an engaging way. They help with classroom management and building routines, and they also provide brain breaks in order for us to move on to the next activity with a clear mind, okay? So I hope this was helpful. Feel free to message me if you have any questions.
Hey teachers, I'm going to talk about fossilization, and it is the process that sometimes occurs in which incorrect linguistic features become a permanent part of the way a learner speaks or writes the new language. So aspects of pronunciation, vocabulary, usage, and grammar may become fixed, or if you like, fossilized in second language learning. And in other words, learners develop and retain their own personal linguistic system that is self-contained and different from both their L1 and the target language. We can also describe fossilization as the process of freezing of the transition between the L1 and L2, where interlanguage stops improving before it reaches a native-like level. And just to add, the term fossilization was coined by Silenker. That's it from me. Thanks.
Thank you, Ahmed. And also big thanks to Thomas, Sherwin, Cassie, Rebecca. Without you guys, this series couldn't be possible. So if you are a qualified teacher and you think you could be in the next video, just send me a message. Happy teaching, guys.